Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Zaria Dogan. I am the Growth Marketing Coordinator here at Higher Level. Super excited to have Tom Harness at Harness Digital Marketing. Our topic today is the top 5 opportunities for ChatGPT with HR and marketing. Before we get started, I just wanted to share a few housekeeping items. This webinar will last less than an hour. Everyone on the call is in listen-only mode, but you do have the ability to ask questions. Throughout the session, we'll answer those questions as Tom is speaking. Before we get started, I would just like to introduce Tom. Tom Harness is the president and owner of Harness Digital Marketing, a digital marketing firm that has worked with over 100 businesses and organizations on social media, SEO, and email marketing. He is an entrepreneur and business owner with 20 years of combined experience in education, IT, nonprofits, and businesses. Tom is a U.S. Army veteran and a SIU alum. He also enjoys craft beers, his beloved Chicago Cubs, his family, and community. Thank you, everyone, again for joining us. And Tom, I hand it off to you.
Thank you, Zaria, for the great introduction. And some of you might have been on some of my previous webinars. And so I love to have interaction. So I encourage you that if something pops in your head, to please put it in the questions, and Zaria will be happy to let me know. We'll get those answered, and then we'll kind of jump right into this. I want to let everybody know right off the bat that everything that was created today for this particular one was done with ChatGPT or artificial intelligence. So none of this came from me. The reason I wanted to do this was because I wanted you all to see and experience the reality of the pros and cons of creating material content with AI. You will find out very quick that it is not 100% foolproof. It's not something that you absolutely can 100% rely on. However, in the world that many of you are in, HR, recruitment, and marketing, you will find out that it is much more reliable and consistent than probably some of the people that you work with. I don't mean that negative by any means, but many of us that are in these leadership roles, we know that we want things a certain way and we want them quick and we want them to be spelled correctly. And those are some of the elements that drive many of us that are leaders in these areas of HR, recruitment, and marketing. Now, I want to preface too that I have a background in marketing and branding. And so when I do research on these, I rely on a lot of different online tutorials. I rely on local people to have conversations with to see where things are practically going in those industries. And so I have had plenty of time to kind of talk about in a short period of time of how ChatGPT specifically is what we're going to talk about today, and artificial intelligence can be used in your industry. So before I open up my slideshow here, I want to let everybody know that what we're talking about today as far as artificial intelligence, we're going to be focusing on a platform called ChatGPT. There are going to be many more platforms that you can use. Google has BART, and there's some other ones. But right now, ChatGPT has the most information, has the most reliable, and it seems to be the industry leader. So that's why we're going to focus on ChatGPT. Many of you might be using other platforms, and that is completely okay. This is meant for introductory to medium level. If you have some of those high end, if you're already using ChatGPT and have those questions, feel free of posting them in the comments, and we will get those answered, and we'll move forward. So without further ado, I'm going to open this up. Go here. All right. Let's see if we can make this. Now, you'll notice, let me move this down. Computer's a little slow. So we're going to start talking about how we can harness, no pun intended, the power of ChatGPT. You'll notice right here that this app presentation.ai, this was all created with the material that I put into it to create this presentation. So literally this presentation was created in probably less than 30 seconds based on the parameters. Now, I do want you all to know, I did go back and change some of the parameters in the prompt at least 3 times because I didn't like the material coming out. However, even though I replaced the prompts 3 times, I still was able to get this completed in less than 5 minutes. So right off the bat, I had amazing opportunity to save a ton of time to go back in, tweak, and edit. So let's dive right in, and we're going to talk about the importance of AI in the recruitment and HR roles. So right off the bat, AI's role in transforming recruiting and HR, improving efficiency and accuracy in talent acquisition. So what does that mean to you in an everyday? How can we use AI to increase efficiency? Well, it's going to require a very high cognitive level, a more deeper thought of how to put in prompts. And when we talk about prompts, we're talking about you have to input information for it to come out. And so AI is really good at not just regurgitating information, but collecting all this information that you put into it to come out with an informed decision or an informed product that you can then use. So when it comes to recruitment, specifically, you have to know the job description. It kind of reverses everything. And so now where you spend maybe a little bit of time of just like trying to plug in and get that job description, so that way the people understand it, completely different now. What you need to do is focus 100% on that job description, because guess what? That job description is your prompt. That is what you're going to put input into ChatGPT, all those parameters. Now, you can put anything you want in that. So let's say you're recruiting internally, or you're, we'll take higher level, for example, and they're trying to recruit for you. What you can do is tell them everything about your ideal candidate, and you can put that in. And then that's what will help pull out the actual increase the job description, or it can help increase, as we see later, as these other third-party like Monster and Indeed, you can input this information into that, and they can help find a more accurate and more precise candidate. Now, on the same point of that, you're like, well, hey, it's not the problem of getting the information out there. Guess what? We don't have the people. There's no one meeting these requirements. So guess what AI is going to continually do down the road as it gets better? It's going to help you identify areas of people that you're not looking at that will fit into the model that you're looking for a specific job or specific skill that you're looking for. So you've got these 2 areas right off the bat that AI can do for transforming recruitment. And that is to be able to help you with your job description, require you to think a little bit more about what you want in that role. And the other one is your blind spot, the things that you don't know, right? The areas that you're like, this is what I'm looking for. I think I know who it is, and this is it. AI will help you take that job description and then look for other areas. All right. And again, if there's any questions throughout any of this, please drop them in the comments. Now, let's go over to AR's impact on operations when it comes to human resources. Yes, we know that we can automate administrative tasks and decision making. So what does that look like from an HR standpoint? Well, it depends on what your business is structured as for the HR department. For many of you, it might be one person. If it's one person department, then guess what? AI is probably going to be a huge asset to you when it comes to repetitive tasks. So the best advice that I can give you is keep a little notepad on the side of your desk, those of you that are in HR that are listening, and I want you to start thinking about all those repetitive tasks that you do daily, whether it's email reading, right? Reading email, responding to email, whatever it is, put it to the side and say, oh my gosh, I do this 5 to 10 times a day, an hour, whatever it might be. Then what you're going to be able to do, and you're going to be able to see as AI integrates more with your everyday websites, your third-party software, you're going to be able to see how that can be automated and help you save time and money. So when you're looking at it from an HR standpoint, please look at those repetitive tasks and think about it. And the other thing is, every one of us has something in our job that we like or don't like. I believe AI is going to help us focus on our strengths in the areas that we really like and be able to utilize AI in the areas that we don't enjoy as much or the repetitive and that drives us crazy. Because I know we all have, I'm sure some of you right now are thinking of those tasks that you would just absolutely love not to do. For me, it's email. I feel like I spend too much time on email. I would love to streamline that a little bit more, right? The other thing with HR is you have compliance, you have lots of things that you have to write. You can absolutely start putting parameters in. Now get this, when it gets better, you actually can put and input websites and platforms to say pull from this. So if you have OSHA compliance, if you have other compliance areas that you need to pull from websites that have online regulations, you are then going to be able to pull in those requirements into your prompt, and it's going to write your policies, your procedures that are aligned with state and federal standards. So that way, you'll be able to review them quicker and say, yep, it has this, yep, it has this. And so from an HR standpoint, you have a lot of opportunities to not write those big books, unless many of you enjoy writing the big policies and procedures, and I know that you're out there. I know there's many of you that enjoy that and you love that, but for some people, it takes a long time. Any questions so far, Zaria?
No, we don't have any questions coming in, Tom, yet.
Okay, so the next area that about growing in recruitment and HR is the AI's potential enhancing candidate experience. So many of you might already understand a little bit about how streamlined and how easy recruitment the candidate wants everything to be. So you're going to be able to, from their end, be able to hopefully allow them to have a better, the word I'm looking for, have a better way of processing what you're specifically looking for. When I was talking with some people about a couple months ago about actually last month, about this presentation, one of the things that came up was they want to be able to streamline when they go in and look for a job, whether it's Indeed or any of the other employment opportunities. They want it to be streamlined where they get the opportunity to basically find out if what they're applying for is truly a good fit for them. So on the candidate experience in the future, and some platforms now, they're going to be able to use AI on their end to help better position themselves with their skills and everything that they have to present themselves to you. Now, you might be a little bit nervous about that because what you want is the actual person and what they're able to do. So in the future, and I do believe this really fairly soon, within the next 2 to 3 years, they'll be able to pull a lot of information on the candidates internally. So when they apply to you, to any of these businesses that they're wanting to, they're going to be able to highlight more accurately their strengths. So I want you to understand that artificial intelligence of pulling this information and getting actual factual information about them is just as important about what you put in, so that way it matches up. Because as this moves forward, and it is going to move forward, you want to make sure that you are getting the actual candidate that is a right for the job instead of someone that may be working. I'm going to try to come up with a good analogy here. Let's say someone that's, I'm a teacher, so someone that's teaching marketing and is applying for a mechanic's job, right? That's kind of extreme, but am I going to be a good fit? Do I meet the requirements that are in the job description itself? And so those things are going to, as we grow in artificial intelligence, these are areas that we're going to go. Now, you're probably thinking, well, this is all great that some of this is in the future. Why do I care about it now? Why? Because you need to start making sure that you start setting up those job descriptions and put a lot more time and effort into it, because your transition into AI, whether it's slow, reluctant, is going to happen in your business. And now is the time to start getting everything ready. So when you integrate with other areas, you're going to be ready to go, and you're going to increase the efficiency of the recruiters, of the recruitments, the candidates that you have coming in when you're looking for that. All right, so those are 3 areas in the future, and we are going to look at ChatGPT, and I am going to get some of you to comment. I'm going to treat you like some of my students at SIU. Everybody has to ask one question, right? So let's move on. Now, the other area about recruitment and forward thinking, because this is a mindset. I want everybody to understand this is a mindset. This isn't something new. This isn't a fad. AI will continually integrate with everything that you do, whether it's Google, if you use Google Business, if you use Microsoft Teams, if you use Canva, you can see this. AI is going to be integrating with everything. So you have to be forward thinking. So you have to think about AI as, how can we make things efficient and automate? Now, automation means, yes, we can alleviate some tasks, maybe sometimes some positions, but it also opens up opportunities for higher paying jobs, because you're going to have people that can think at a higher cognitive level, at a higher level of thinking, to write these prompts. Don't be misled if you think anybody can just come into AI and write something and get it. The more detailed oriented they are, the more the prompts are going to, the more you're going to want a person that can write detailed prompts so you get the outputs that you want. So think of it this way. You want to put more on the back end so you save time, and then you are able to move forward with the prompts, or with the results that the prompts have given you. Those of you that are very analytical, everything that you do through AI is going to be data driven. Whether it's numbers, whether it's specific information being pulled from specific websites, everything will be data driven. So there is no more of this, bias, which we're going to talk a little bit more about. But you can leverage AI and all the algorithms to make better hiring choices. So you can say, we put these parameters in, and this is what we got. There's going to be no, oh, I like this person, or I like that. Now, if you're really good at that, and I'm sure some of you are, that's great. Maybe you can find out why your hunches, why your the way you choose people aligns with AI. And maybe you can even see which ones AI would pick and which ones you would pick. And then you can start to look at how those two bridge together. So either way, you're able to increase your data-driven outcomes with that. And then again, we talked about this, you can improve candidate screening with AI. So obviously cost reduction, improving quality of the hires, and enhanced efficiency. So those are kind of the key areas that I want to talk about for HR and recruitment. As we shift over a little bit, I want to leave an opportunity for everybody to ask questions, because we're going to take a look at something different here in just a bit. Any questions on how the future of AI and HR and recruitment is, or how it affects you? Any of you think this is just not even close? How many of you are reluctant? I want to get some feedback from some of you on that so we can have a little bit of a discussion here.
We have a question that came through. It says, can he show an example of how this is done? Will we upload resumes for them to review, or how would it get the information, or is it only in an ATS?
Yes, so we're going to switch over to ChatGPT in a second. I'll talk to you about some prompts. If you will help interact with us, that will be great. I'm going to show a specific example, and we'll just move over to that right now. And Zeri, did my screen, I just want to make sure my screen, yes, it did.
Yes, so I see ChatGPT.
Excellent. So you'll see here that I went in and did some searches in ChatGPT. If you look up here, chat.openai.com, I encourage you, feel free to go to that website right now. You can log in with your Google account, or you can set up one, either way. Otherwise, you can follow along here and take a look. And so once everything gets integrated, again, I'm going to go back to the job description. And that person, whoever you were, give me an idea of what you're looking for. And we're going to just use you as an example in ChatGPT, how we're going to write a job description. Okay, so put something in for a specific job and just some little parameters. And if you'll put that in real quick, I'll kind of show you how to do a prompt, and we will show you an outcome of that. While you're doing that, I'm going to kind of give them a little bit of a tutorial here. So once you're logged in, you have this little button right here, and then you can basically create this. How can I help you today? And you can do all kinds of things. But remember, we want to be in the mindset of whatever position we're in, whether it's HR or recruitment. So let's do this. I'm going to give one example while we're waiting for the other person to kind of give us a little bit more parameters of what they're looking for. So write a job description for a position in, let me see, I actually don't know what most of you are, but we'll assume it's HR or marketing. So we'll stick with marketing because that's what I best know. Write a job description for let's do this. And you want to be as specific as you can. Full-time position in, let's do content marketing for an HR agency meeting these requirements. And I'm going to give you a couple of different examples here. Work ethic, types 30 words per minute. Wow, that's horrible. Types 60 words per minute. And we're going to make this super basic. Is an excellent speller. Now, usually when I write these, I go back and look at it and decide, man, I need a little bit more. And so I want you to see what a basic prompt like this, and then we're going to even go more basic, because some of you are thinking, well, if I'm just going to write the job description in here, how's that going to help me? Well, it's going to help you maximize it or look for specific areas that you're not. So this one's a basic one, and some of you might have used this. Now, you'll see that it filled in a lot of extra areas, and it actually filled out areas like how to apply. And then you can also go back and change this for the tone. So let's do this. Any questions about this one? Anybody surprised about the extra areas that it put it in? You can put kind of like your voice. You can also put, as an example for a job description, you can do pull it from a website. So we could, once this one's only ChatGPT 3.5, some of the other ones that are a newer version that you can pay for, you can actually tell it to pull from a website. Let's actually see if this one, let's do this. Now I got to remember. Hold on just a second. I didn't want to mess up. I'm pretty sure that I want to make sure I pull from the right one. Yep. I don't want to get in trouble with my wonderful hosts here. For more detailed information. Yeah, I don't think this one's going to pull. I don't think I have in this version, I can't pull from that. It does put that, but there are some versions of ChatGPT, newer ones, that you can actually dictate social media accounts. You can actually pull from actual websites, and it can give and make it more personal. However, right here, you saved about 30, 40 seconds of that. The person that had the question, did he or she give us any detailed information that we can actually use a real world experience that she's looking for or he's looking for?
Nicole Cassens said receptionist, assuming this is a job description as well. Receptionist, typing, customer service skills, and Microsoft experience, 2 years.
Okay.
I can
Now we're
repeat
going
that if you
to, and I'll have you probably have to repeat those for me, unless you can,
Yeah.
if you can copy. I don't know. Do I? I'm trying to see if I have the chat here.
I can reread them if you need me to.
I'm going to see if I'm in the chat here. Actually, if you can just copy that and put it in the chat, I think I'll be able to use that. So, and what was her name?
Nicole.
Nicole. So Nicole, what we're going to do here is write a prompt that says, move this down here real quick.
I don't think I can copy
Okay.
it, or maybe I can.
Create a job description to hire an amazing receptionist for a fast-paced business that has the following requirements. Were you able to, oh, there we go. Yeah, got it. And I'm going to do yours, Nicole, just a little bit different. I'm going to write it in a voice that is friendly, inviting, and caring. Now, why did I put that in there? No, AI doesn't have emotion, but if you put those parameters in there and maybe some of your stuff comes off very cold, maybe it comes off very not what you're looking for, this kind of puts a voice in there that helps it seem more inviting. Now, this isn't for everything. These prompts need to be in align with your business culture. If it is fast-paced, but it's friendly, that's great. If it's very driven as far as industrial, whether it's mechanical, whatever industry you might be in, that's what you're looking for. So you could be, I want someone that is very focused, very driven, and that's a completely different parameter. So let's see, Nicole, what we get with this one. And then we'll let you be the judge. All right, so I'm gonna kind of I'll go through a little bit of this. So job title, exceptional receptionist. You could put, and you can go back in and copy this and edit and paste this however you want to use it. Are you a warm and welcoming individual with a passion for providing outstanding customer service? We're seeking an amazing receptionist to join our dynamic team at Nicole's business. A fast-paced business at the forefront of whatever industry it is. If you're thriving in a bustling environment and excel at creative, positive first impressions, we want to hear from you. Position overview. As our receptionist, I love that they say "our," you will be the face of our company, the first point of contact for our valued clients and guests. Your friendly demeanor and exceptional customer service skills will play a crucial role in creating a welcoming atmosphere. And then it goes into the responsibilities. I'll let everybody take a look at that. The requirements. Why join us and how to apply. So Nicole, I want you to pick this apart. What are your thoughts on that. Let's hear from Nicole a little bit, get some feedback from her.
Nicole says, looks great when we get applicants through. How are we using AI to help narrow them down? How does ChatGPT get this information as we don't want to upload any confidential information?
Correct. Okay. So what you're going to be looking at as we move forward. So this is kind of like the future part of this that we've been kind of that I kind of talked to you about. If you have this to help create it, you're going to be able to save time by uploading this into obviously Indeed, and then Indeed or some other platforms, higher level, will be able to integrate with artificial intelligence. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about, based on your question, Nicole, when we get to this area where we're integrating the job description into the search field, there's a couple of ways this can happen. Your business, depending on the size, and I don't know what size any of you are, you can actually have an internal use for AI. So if you have an IT department or team, you can actually integrate this internally, and you can actually not send personal information outside of this, right? So you can have an internal, but that requires your IT people to integrate with ChatGPT and use it internally. Now, those of you that are smaller, like even my business, or you're wanting to utilize this to help streamline the process, Indeed, some of the other platforms, like I'm saying, are going to integrate with this. You're going to be able to use AI on their end, much like this, to create the stuff and help you narrow down the process. So even though you might love to write this stuff, and obviously this took really quick and edit, you will be able to integrate directly with this third party to be able to do this. Now, it's not here yet. Indeed is actually starting this. If you go, those of you that use Indeed, and I'm not promoting or doing that, saying that Indeed's the way to go, but a lot of these other third-party places that you can post jobs are able to integrate with that. I hope that answers your question. So when you go in there, there's going to be this opportunity to have them write the prompt that's probably integrating with ChatGPT, and then you're also going to be able to narrow that down. You're going to be able to go in there and say, this is what I'm looking for, right? And so the AI is going to say, give you some prompts to know a little bit more about you. And I want to make I want to be distinctive about the difference of someone filling out a form and trying to check off boxes, and using AI to actually learn more about the person to match it up. AI is actually not regurgitating information. It's not if this, then this. No, it's collecting data and information to say we have all these parameters, and AI is going to match you with this based on all these other factors. Much very driven like a database, but it's actually bringing in so many different other elements to it. So it's not a if this, then this matchup. It is literally like talking to a person. I like to call it like a toddler, and you're getting some output that is completely new and different. It's going to be something that you're never going to necessarily expect. It's going to have an outcome that will pretty much allow you to, I guess, have more sales teams people. You're going to have more HR people. You're going to have more people that are able to make decision-based information instead of just data-driven. So there's going to be much more parameters to it when you're aligning this. I hope that answers your question, because what I wanted to do was try to show you what you can do now on the basic sense and where this is going, so that way you're prepared when we transition over to kind of all this AI stuff. Many of you probably already started to see this in photography, if you're looking for images. Canva, those of you that use marketing, which we're going to talk just a little bit about, you have all those opportunities. But everything is about the prompt, and making sure that as you move forward with AI in any of your businesses or your practices, understanding that that prompt is going to help you create information and data that will always be able to come back, and you can keep utilizing and reusing over and over. It's meant to streamline. And I hope I answered your question on that one. All right.
Also, before you move on, Tom, we have another question from Lindsay. She says, do you have any
Yes.
suggestions on how to talk to upper management and getting their buy-in for AI slash chat GPT? Our team is more reactive than proactive.
Great. That was Lindsay.
Yes.
All right, Lindsay. Yes, there's a couple of things how I would answer that. First, you have to know where your leadership comes from. If it's very data driven, then you come in and you talk about being data driven. If their concern is it's a fad or how much time is this going to take, then you need to be able to go in and say, this is the parameters that we're going to use it. Lindsay, can you give me a little bit more information on what your business is or what your background is, so that way I can make it a little bit more specific to you?
She says they are data driven.
Say that again.
She said we are a financial institution.
Okay, so financial, great. But the concern is, why do I want to put this information out on ChatGPT? So those of you that deal with specific candidates or specific financial records or information that you don't want or the businesses don't want out, ChatGPT can be implemented internally inside your own domain, inside your own network. So that way, all the stuff that you're collecting, all the data is internal. And that way it doesn't go out and it doesn't have to be utilized outside of that. Now you do have to pay for ChatGPT, that artificial intelligence outside of that. Now, if you do that, it's secure. So their concern from a financial standpoint would be, I don't want this information out. So you can say it can be secured. We need to be in the forefront of this. It can alleviate, it can shorten the time that we can collect information. And then you have to also, and we'll talk about this too, you need to have a strategy. So I wouldn't go to a leader or a manager and say, hey, we need to get on this AI thing. I went and saw and talked to this guy, Tom Harness of Harness Digital Marketing, and we need to do this. That's not how I would approach it. I would approach it as, I attended this conference today. There's a lot of information and uses that AI can have. I'd like to look at seeing if there's 3 areas that we can use AI to address these 3 areas that I think would be best fitted for streamlining our financial goals in this. If you can align what your manager and your goals are, what the manager's goals are with what AI can address, then that's great. So Lindsay, I would look at know your manager, look at some of those goals and start asking yourself, does AI fit into any of these roles? If it doesn't, then I would just have the conversation, hey, I think we need to be open to this and proactive. Are there areas that you think we could use AI? If not, can I see if there's any areas that we can streamline with AI and be ahead of this? I will tell you that the finance industry is hitting this pretty hard. I don't know exactly what financial industry you're in, but I know that from a stock standpoint, I know from a banking standpoint, that this is going to be something very huge in the future to look for at a manager's level, to predict trends, to look at data, to find opportunities. There's just a lot of opportunities to utilize this in a way that a manager could make themselves look better, which all managers want to, but could also streamline and help them with goals. So if you can input the data for your, if it's a branch, let's say that a branch can input internally their data, artificial intelligence can look for areas that they can make money in, and they can also look for areas that they're losing money in, and then you can adjust accordingly. So it could help find ways to streamline efficiency in the sense of where people are best suited. So maybe you have some employees in an area that are selling products that they're just not doing good. I don't want to say this, but it could be used for, you know, streamlining and keeping people as well, right? And so we don't want that. I want to make that very clear. This is meant to help people. I don't want this to ever be used in a way to alleviate positions or people based on things, because there obviously needs to be a human element. AI doesn't know what people are going through. They don't know if they lost a previous job, if they've been sick, if they're a single parent and they need to get, there's many areas that go into this that we're just not going to have the parameters for. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about AI for HR and marketing. And so those of you that are marketing people in here or do marketing, there's a couple of areas that I definitely want to make sure I clicked on that. There we go. Many of you, I want to talk about a couple of these elements in here. The market research, you can actually put some prompts in to look at where you need to go as far as for content. If you're going to write content for marketing, you've seen that. You can train GPT for the voice. You need to know the voice of your company. And then you can also use it to create interactive campaigns. So a lot of this can be used to create content for social media, email, website. There's actually a version of ChatGPT, an artificial intelligence version, that if you put in some parameters, it will create a website for you in literally nothing. This doesn't necessarily help out mid to upper level businesses, but for small businesses that need content, and that's usually what most web developers struggle with, you can use ChatGPT for SEO, search engine optimization content, to come up with those areas that it needs to, that you'll rank better in Google and Bing and all that. Customer support. Many of you right now probably very familiar of the little pop-up boxes, or even Facebook will have, where if you put in a question, it'll pull out a prompt that matches up with it. So you can kind of alleviate those frequently asked questions. There is 3 major AI companies out right now. I'm actually looking at one that can create actual conversational replies with your clients. So think of this. What if you could cut down your call center? What if you could cut down the amount of phone calls you get for the same thing over and over? I think it was Nicole, your receptionist. What if you could put something in where when people call in, they get an artificial intelligence that answers most of the questions, and then if it's something outside of those parameters, it then connects them with the correct people. You're not wasting a lot of your administrative assistant, your receptionist's time on phone calls that get the same thing over and over. That is going to be a huge thing in the future, which is those artificial intelligence call centers. Also with the research in that, you have where we know a lot of customers do not like to have a foreign or someone that they deem that they have a hard time understanding and hearing. So then if you do AI, you have someone that they can. Now, the trade-off with that is it's still rudimentary. It's still, some of it's really good and some of it still has a long ways to go. But here's the thing, it learns. So if you go in and you start to train it like you would any employee, it will learn and adapt and grow to be able to answer those calls, or on your website, interact much more natural with the responses. And then it can also schedule. For those of you that might need scheduling, you can integrate with a calendar and actually set up appointments and schedule. So those of you that have a sales team, this can be huge for you in the future as well. So I'm going to wrap up and take some questions. There is a lot that comes into this. I tried to narrow it down to some specific areas. I wanted to show you where it's going, and I wanted to give you something that you can use right now. The best thing I can tell you is, from a content standpoint, you need to get in and just start asking it questions and start looking at ways that you can enhance it. That area where I told you to put the note, or that the section where I told you to put the note by your computer, start making a list of the things that you do constantly over when you're on your computer. There are going to be ways to streamline pretty much everything that you do. Interaction, communication, and only having communication with those areas that you know that things need to be done. I know that we pretty much every day, all of us deal with repetitive People ask us the same thing over and over. Well, imagine those tasks being handled by artificial intelligence, whether it's a virtual assistant, whether it's creating content. And those of you that are in marketing, we all know that the spelling has always been an issue. I will tell you, I've not had any issues with spelling. I've had issues with context of words being misused, but not very, very much. As you can see from the prompts that I've even used here, you can develop a lot. I hope that this was very beneficial. I definitely want to open this up for discussions, and I'm real good about discussions that are hard questions too. And if you think or opinions, I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on how you think this could be utilized in your business.
Thank you, Tom. Don't see any more questions.
That's never a good sign. Let me get back here real quick. Hold on a second. Oh, there we go. Let me see. I'm trying to get, I wanted to get back to you. Is that sharing? There we go.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any more questions, but that was some great engagement for sure. So I think you answered Nicole's and Lindsay questions pretty well.
Zaria, what about you?
So I definitely agree with you on just about those prompts. It is very you have to almost kind of be very detailed on exactly what you're meaning. Because I've put things in and it would make me think what? I wasn't even thinking that. So okay, I kind of take what it gave me and say, okay, now use this information and make it sound more catchy or add this in. So it's definitely those prompters, those is for sure.
And the bias, we all have biases, and even content can have. So if we put the prompts in, we can actually take a little bit of the bias out. So if we're also from a recruiting standpoint wanting to try to convince management or leadership, we can talk about how we can take out the bias of things when we use artificial intelligence, because we're not going to assume anything. We can make assumptions about names. We can make assumptions about how they spell. We can make assumptions about where they grew up. We can make their work experience. When we can make all of that and picture in our mind what that person looks like, AI doesn't. It looks at the facts of this is what it is. And so being able to sell it from a recruitment standpoint is huge. And even though we're not completely there, they are integrating right now with a lot of these parameters. So the biggest takeaway that I want everybody to have today is to get in here, start looking at those prompts and finding ways to use content to make their jobs quicker and easier, because you're going to see this in everything. Like I said, Canva, Indeed, it's AI is everywhere. And so it's better to be ahead of the curve instead of behind trying to figure everything out. And I appreciate your opportunity to speak with them. It is still groundbreaking and still new. So I hope everybody, if you have questions, you are more than welcome to reach out to me from any standpoint. And I know that you guys are a good resource for them as well. So thank you, everybody. And if there's no other questions, I will.
Nicole asked a question. She said, how did you get it to create the PowerPoint? Did you transfer the template in slides?
Yeah, so no, I used a third party. Let me go back to let me see if I can tell you. I used app.presentations.ai. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, was that Nicole or Lindsay?
Yes. Nicole.
Nicole, I went through that at least 3 times. The presentation isn't there yet, but it did cut down a lot of time. And so,
could you say the name again?
Yes. Actually, it's app.presentations with a S .ai. It's okay. but because it's built on AI, it's going to continually get better. The more people that use it, the better it's going to get. And so there's some other ones too. This is just the one that I liked and I wanted to try. So everything that I utilized today was AI, other than my own research and my own information, my own discussion points, and what I've learned so far. I do hope this was very beneficial for many of you. Please give Zaria some feedback on areas that you were happy with, that you weren't, because I want those feedbacks because I want to get better to help other people in this area. So please give them feedback. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Just please give them whatever you can, and we'll make this even better. And Zaria, thank you, and I hope this was a good discussion for everybody.
Yes, this was great. So thank you everyone again. Oh, Tom, can I have the PowerPoint slides that you did
Yes,
use?
I'll have to export them, and I will get, if you email me, I will get those, I'll reply back with them.
Okay, sounds good. I'll send those out, and then I'll send out a survey again after the webinar so everyone can give their feedback, and I'll share that with you, Tom.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. Also, before we wrap up, I do want to mention that we will have a High Notes webinar on December 13th, and it is Navigating Career Pathways, How to Build Your Dream Team. So we'll be sending out information about that later this week. Until then, thank you, everyone, again. Thank you, Tom, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Bye.